Okay. How are y'all doing today? It's Thursday, one more day till Friday, praise God, because I just went through this whole thing and forgot to unmute, but we're here. Thank y'all for tuning in to Transformation Thursday. I am Erin Davenport, the Special Initiatives Manager, and I'm sitting in the boss's seat today. I'm going to get real comfortable, okay? But today's gonna be awesome because we have a very special, awesome, committed, dedicated guest. She's so sweet. She's amazing. She does great work in the community. She does work that people do not want to do. They do their best to stay away from. And she works with a demographic that people oftentimes misunderstand, and they don't want to get to know these people, do not want to help these people because it takes a lot of work. But this woman that's going to be on here today, she's not scared of that work. Now, it is National Developmental Disability Awareness Month. And here to let us know all about that is Miss Jennifer Purvis.
Hello.
Hello. Were your ears burning?
Oh, a little bit. Not too bad.
All good stuff though.
Good. Thank you. I need all that I can get.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So thank you for joining in on Transformation Thursday. Real quick, is this your first one where you're the host? You're the host.
Yes. The first time to be here on the hot seat.
Yay. I'm so happy that I get to break you in. And especially now because you don't have much longer left, correct?
Yeah, the end is near. The retirement is, on the horizon. But I've got a little more time, so I'm going to work hard till I get there. But
of course
I will enjoy those days when it comes.
Of course you are. So I was really excited to hear from you because, first of all, at Northeast Delta Human Services Authority, there is so much that goes on. And it's like we're constantly learning every day about each department. And then within each department, there's so many branches. And then there's so many other branches. It's just so many small things. But like with the Developmental Disabilities Department, which is what you are the director of, that seems like it's its own, what's the word?
We are our own community, and we have some diversity that people don't recognize that just wants to be a part of everything else. And so that's what we try to do, is advocate to be, we're just like anybody else. We want to be out there doing the things we love and having people experience life and live life to their fullest. And the rest of the world seeing that, people with disabilities are no different in what they dream about and want in their life. Absolutely.
So how long have you been with Northeast Delta HSA?
Right at 29 years, actually. All of my professional career with the state has been in developmental disabilities completely. And actually right out of college, that's what I started into, and I have not gone any other path. This has been a passion and kind of fell into it. Learned a little bit more about it, and the more I learned, I was like, okay, this is where I need to be. And I just loved every minute of being able to be in it. I haven't loved everything we've encountered, but I feel a really strong passion for advocacy and fairness and people being seen for who they are. And so I just felt a real pull to stay with it. And so 29 years later, here we are.
And so for this type of work, with this type of work and with this group of people, that that desire didn't just pop up. Like, I know you say you fell into it, but you really don't just fall into your service of work. Like, what attracted you to this area?
I think it's twofold in that when I first got out of college, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I did not have a lot of experience with people with developmental disabilities, intellectual disabilities. I did have some experience in knowing some people, but I didn't see them any differently than anybody else. And when I got my first job, it kind of opened my eyes to how the community sees people with developmental disabilities many times, and the stereotypes that are out there, and the miscommunication, misinformation. And so it kind of was a challenge to me of well, I want to help this person break through. And one of my first jobs was as what they called a job developer, which was to help people and get employers rather in the community to hire people with disabilities. And so I had to go out and kind of sell that with no experience whatsoever, which is not a great idea. You should have somebody who knows what they're doing, I would say, in hindsight. But it made me have to learn about people and spend time with people and know what gifts and talents they had to offer so that I could go in and tell an employer, hey, this person can do these things. Don't just look at the surface. And so that just kind of grew, and it grew from there because, every no kind of aggravated me, and I just usually don't do well with no.
Very, very curious about that pushback and how you handle it, because if they were to tell me, especially straight out of college, no experience, and you're telling me no, and then I know these people that I'm trying to put to work, and you say no.
Yeah, and I think it was those relationships that made the difference, is because I knew those people and I knew they wanted to go to work. And so for every 500 no's, I got a one yes and got a chance for somebody to go to work. That reward and seeing them happy in that way outweighed all those no's. Now, you couldn't have told me that when I was getting those no's. I was aggravated. I was angry. I was frustrated, trying to figure out what do I need to do differently. But then when I got somebody a job and he worked there and he became just a coworker like anyone else, and he wasn't seen as the man with a disability with the job. He was just a coworker who had the job with the other guys. It was just, that was fun to see, and kind of fed my desire to keep going and find more and more. So I can't say I was, this great success story. People have done far more than me in the area of helping people get jobs, but I helped a few find it, and that was, I felt like one is better than none, so it's just one small step toward the bigger goal of having many, many more people employed.
Right. So, thank you for everyone that's coming in. I did see we had some more people pop in to watch us today. Thank you. So at HSA, we focus on mental health, addictive disorders, prevention and wellness, and what we're here to talk about today, developmental disabilities. Can you give me like an overall review of the department? And it's a lot. So when we first met, coming up was so many months ago, I was like, "What do you do?" And you were like, "Girl, there's not enough time in the day." But can you just give me an overview? What is it exactly that you all do?
Well, you're right. It is big, and so I'll try to be pretty general. Our department serves as a single point of entry for the state service system for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, meaning that if there's anyone out there who has a disability that meets our criteria, we would determine if they're eligible to then offer them the array of things and connect them with all of the services that might be available for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. The goal being helping them to remain in the community, live in their own homes with family where they want to live, having that choice and the freedom to do that. And so we do that through a lot of different ways. Once eligibility is established, we have to do that in our office. We do that for the state, as well as oversee multiple programs that support people where they are, whether they be funded through Medicaid, some state general dollars that the legislature gives us, a variety of different things. It's very person-centered. The idea is that not everybody that comes through our door obviously has the same needs. They may all meet the criteria of having a different type of disability, but nobody sits where they sit and lives where they live. And so we have to go to where they are and say, what is it that you need in your life to help maintain the lifestyle of being able to live here and not move to another setting where you're not with family and living where you want to be?
Okay, you meet them where they are, and
absolutely.
And so it sounds like you're a liaison.
Somewhat, yes. Right.
Okay.
We're kind of the link to that system, and helping with either funding or resources to finding other services that maybe we don't provide but are available in others. So you're exactly right. We're kind of that link. Absolutely.
So are the services limited to like the most common? And I say that because I mean, what I know as a disability may be different from what my colleague may know as a disability, but like, are they only limited to those that are that have like cerebral palsy or someone that has like learning disabilities? Does it stretch further than that?
Absolutely does. It's really interesting. After 29 years, you think you'd seen every type of disability come through our door, of new syndromes and things like that. But sadly, there are new things being identified every single day. Developmental disabilities is kind of a mixed bag of types of disabilities. For us, it's primarily, let me restate.
Mm-hmm.
There are factors that are involved with disabilities that come in many different ways. It can come from a genetic syndrome or some type of disability. It can be an environmental factor. It can be someone who had a mother who had a prenatal infection that passed on to the baby that they're born with. The primary thing being that it causes them significant disabilities or inability to do things in their life independently. Mm-hmm. They need, and it affects them in ways such as self-care, their receptive and expressive language, mobility, learning. So yes, cerebral palsy, those are typically diagnoses we see, but mm-hmm. then there are those that have never been heard of before. It's not only having the actual diagnosis, but it's how it impacts their life, and that mm-hmm. it's ongoing and going to be substantial for them for the remainder of their life, and that it occurred prior to age 22. Because the whole point when you think of developmental disabilities, right, it should happen or have happened during those developmental years. Right. There are services for people that have adult onset disabilities. Okay. And that's just a different office. But the folks that we support, while it's all ages, the disability had to have started prior to 22.
Okay. So tell me about Developmental Disability Awareness Month. Yeah. That is in March. Tell me about that, because I didn't, not that we don't need to be aware. Right. You're not necessarily aware that there's an awareness month for this, you know?
Right. And then a lot of people aren't. It's essentially just a month where those who support, advocate, are involved in, or have developmental disabilities want to bring awareness to the world at large, right? In the community that celebrates the diversity of disabilities, just as we have diversity amongst any group. People who have intellectual and developmental disabilities are just as different. There are no two alike. There are no two needs alike, no two dreams of people. All those differences that you and I share are the same amongst people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. They just want to have the opportunity to fulfill those. So it's about inclusion, celebrating abilities versus disabilities in every situation, and having a strong community life and integration into their communities, not just being present, but actually being there. We can all live in a community and say that I live in the West Monroe or the Monroe community, mm-hmm. but are we involved? Are we engaged? Am I participating? Am I in groups and clubs and organizations that are interesting to me because of things I like, such as my hobbies, or whether it be a church, a garden club, the Rotary Club, whatever is significant in my area. People with disabilities want to be just as engaged in that as anyone else, and should be, of course.
Mm-hmm. I guess I don't really understand the question I'm about to ask, which I have to ask, because I don't know if it's the Southern in me, the woman, me being a woman, or me being a Black Southern woman, where I don't understand why we have to stress disability inclusion and why is it important? Because come on in, have a seat.
It's kind of, I think of it this way.
I mean,
it seems so common sense, mm-hmm. that why wouldn't we? But I'm going to branch out and say here, it's its own civil rights movement, and mm-hmm. has been for many years. Just as it makes no sense to not include Group X or Group Y in things and treat people equally, right? With across the board with anything, whether it be nationality, race, religion, any of those things. Right. This should be no different. But we know, I think we also go to a place where, as Southerners, as you speak of, we are often very bless your heart and oh sweet you and caring, want to take care of mm-hmm. Each other. And yes, there are people with various types of illnesses and disabilities that we do want to come around and support and take care of. But we also have a great deal, and most people who have disabilities who are like, I don't want your pity. I just want to be able to live my life. I just want to have access to the things that I want to do, just as you want access to things you need to do. And if I'm not given an opportunity because people assume I use a wheelchair, that my intelligence is unable to be an active participant, then that's the wrong assumption. Just as if I assume someone's of a particular religion, that they all think one way or another, and so forth. And so I think we mean well. I don't know that anyone is deliberate, just as with ignorance of other things. But it boils down to an equal respect, and not seeing that wheelchair, or not seeing that what can often be a visual indication that maybe there isn't something quite the same as myself when I look at someone, to just make an assumption that, that they don't seem like they have what it takes. And I tell you, some of the most fascinating people out there are ignored every single day. And we don't give credit where credit is due, and should just make the assumption of intelligence and equality before we jump to an assumption of, oh, let me be gentle and feel sorry for and try to baby or help these people that I'm encountering. They don't want to be seen as any different, just a person, right?
I did. I write the stories, the developmental disability stories and things, our success stories. And so I've taught one particular family stands out to me with you speaking on being independent and things like that. They were very, I'm not going to say their name, but please go on our website and check out all the stories. But the parents were focused on their daughter's independence the whole entire time I talked to her. Of course, when you have a family member that has a developmental disability, the cost of things is maximized. But so of course there was that heavy, weight on the family, but it was all so focused on, we want to make sure she has this, she needs this, she needs it. They got a new van, she likes this color. It was just very focused on, which family I'm talking about. Yeah, they were very focused on that. And that's what I get from you. And that's what I really think. This is my opinion. I think that's what makes this department so great and unique. Not just because I work here, but honestly, after talking with you all and your staff and everything, y'all are so committed. And it's like, you have to be to do this type of work.
Yeah, we're very blessed, and I do not take it for granted. And I tell them this every time I can have the opportunity. It's almost as if it's out there. It's almost a prerequisite that if you're going to come here and do this work, we only want people who are here to advocate for the person. Now, that does mean having to work with families, because families, they're concerned. They have legitimate worries about people being able to do things that maybe they haven't pictured them being able to do because they want to protect them. But our staff is really amazing, in that the bottom line is that they want what's best for that person and what that person wants, and want to listen to them and help them to achieve the things that they have said to us that they want. Because often they'll open up to us, hey, I really would like my own place, but my mom and dad are really scared for me to do that. And so we really are obvious about our efforts to be truthful with parents and talk with them about, acknowledge their concerns or families, but also say that we're here for that person. That's what we do, and that we're not going to stop doing that. But oftentimes we can find a place where we can meet in the middle, and somebody just might need a little extra voice to say that, because I can only imagine, as a parent of two daughters, things that they might want to do that kind of make me nervous, right? And I would want to be sure that they understood fully what they're getting into, and are they going to be safe? Are you going to, just those natural risks that all of us have.
Yeah, more so than anything.
And then it's on top of that, they have a disability, so you want to make sure that, okay, there may be a little more susceptible to people taking advantage of them. And so all of those things have to play into it. But we're very fortunate here at Northeast Delta with the DD staff that everyone here, we all kind of think the same way when it comes to what the goal here is, to advocate and help families and individuals be where they want to be and being safe and as healthy as they can in their communities and involved and engaged.
Yes. So what are other ways people can engage and be active in increasing awareness?
Oh, wow. There are a lot of things. We have a regional advisory committee, for example, that is open to the public, but there are also openings for membership. And that committee is specifically set in each region of the state to include people who have disabilities, as well as people who are caregivers and support people for those that need that, to come and share and say, what's happening in services in our community? What do we like? What do we not like? What would we like to see different based on our area and what we need? Hey, there's a big need for a particular type of service that's not being reached in one of the 12 parishes that Northeast Delta serves. That is the great opportunity for those people to come and voice and share, so that we can't fix what we don't know. So, or they might come and say, hey, this is working really good in this particular area. Can we move it also to another, and we can expand things? But the Regional Advisory Committee, anyone who may be interested in that, I welcome them to call and let us share information about, it's like asking for you to tell us what we're doing and how we're doing. So we're opening that door. We're always open to do that, but the Regional Advisory Committee is certainly a way to do it. There are just multiple ways. You can do it as an employer by opening your door to people with developmental disabilities and intellectual disabilities that might want to work. Opening your groups, your committees, and being accepting of and welcoming to, giving people benefit of the doubt that they are capable versus that they aren't, simply because of what you may see or assume about a person.
Okay.
So those are just some ways, allowing people to be a part of what every one of us are a part of every day, inviting someone that you know to be a part of something. Oftentimes they're sitting back, they're timid, they're afraid to, but if we engage them and say, come and join us, be a part of this, whether it be our churches or whatever, those are great ways to get to know people and see all the gifts. There are a lot of things sitting out there that are not tapped. Good vibes, good quality gifts and talents and just general good people that want to have friendships that have limited access to how to gain those friendships. So we should be reaching out in every way possible.
Now, how do people get in contact with your office if they're seeking information, resources?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Very easy. For one, you can stop by. We're open 8 to 4:30 every single day.
In a brand new spanking building.
That's right, in our brand new place over on Armand Connector. You can't miss us. For people who are from the area, it's the old More Fitness. And if you go way, way back, it's Gudo's. But there's a large sign on the front. It's 2324 Armand Connector. Or they can just simply call our office. We accept referrals from any source. Of course, if someone's calling on behalf of someone and we reach out, to them, they'll have to say, yes, I want to, proceed, or no, I don't. They have the right to do, but we will make contact with them and share information. They can call our office at 362-3396 and just say, hey, I'd like more information about services, or I'd like to apply, or I know someone who might like to apply. Can you give them a call? And we'll do our best to reach out to them with our eligibility staff and see if this is something that might benefit them. If it's not, it is one of our big goals to never say just no. If this isn't the place that you need to be and the criteria doesn't fit, we try really hard to say, based on what you've told me, though, let me point you to a direction of another agency that might be more appropriate or that might be able to meet your need based on what you've shared with me.
Mhm.
So we welcome it. We have a lot of talkers, as I am, over here, who would be happy to talk you through it. And sometimes you just need to ask some general questions, and you might not be ready to apply for anything, but you just want to know what
Mhm.
even is out
What
there.
can you do? What's the
Yeah,
possibility?
what's there, and when should I apply, or should I
Mhm.
wait? We're happy to answer those questions as well.
All right. Well, Miss Purvis, thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thank
It
you.
was so good
Thank
and
you for
very,
having me.
very informative.
Well, good. I hope so, and I hope people will definitely, if I've sparked an interest in anyone who wants more information, that they'll call and hear more, and let us try to assist them in maybe doing some things they never dreamed they could do that are out there available to them.
Yes, and everyone, please head over to our website. That's nedeltahsa.org. You can get all the information about the agency and also about our topic today, which is the Developmental Disabilities Department. And also, we have our 24/7 crisis hotline, all right? 1-800-256-2522. Call that number. You are never alone. Someone is always there, okay? So make sure you utilize that. Ms. Purvis, thank you so much. Everyone else,
Yeah.
enjoy the rest of your day.
All right. Bye bye.